No more bragging, you fucking rats. Motherfuckers gotta show and prove now. Let the deadliest survive. Question.
What the hell are you talking about, man?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of It's Always Sunny in Hollywood, where today let's do the Mambo. I'm your host, Lugia, and with me are...
Patty, is this Mambo number 5, or is there a 6 now? What are we doing?
What if this was the first Mambo? You ever think about that?
Oh, we're going to the source.
And I'm Red.
Right. So
Anyway,
yeah, do we have news for today?
we do.
Okay.
So this is just a quick obituary. Ted Turner passed away. Ted Turner is probably one of the most significant media moguls of the last 50 years. He founded CNN, the first 24-hour cable news channel. He founded WTBS, which pioneered the superstation concept in cable TV. And he also founded a couple TV networks that you're all definitely familiar with: Cartoon Network, Boomerang, Turner Classic Movies, TNT, and TBS. A lot of people like to joke that he's one of the few nice billionaires because a good amount of his fortune was spent to just preserving the arts. You know, with he made Cartoon Network and Boomerang and GCM just because he wanted to have a lot of classic stuff accessible to people. He also owned the Atlanta Braves baseball team, which won the World Series in the 90s. Also in the 90s, he bought Jimmy Carter Promotions, which he rebranded to World Championship Wrestling, which was more popular than the WWE. He also gave $1 billion to create the United Nations Foundation. He was also a huge environmentalist, which is why Captain Planet exists. But yeah.
Gentlemen, my wishes are coming true. Well, some of them, because we are officially getting a Weird Al Yankovic jukebox musical. Hell yeah.
Is it based off that biopic?
No, this is an original story. Very little information has been revealed about it so far. It's happening, and it's from the same creative team as the Beetlejuice musical.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I know you did, Lugia.
It's really good. I think you'd like it.
What I find ironic about the Beetlejuice musical is that it's technically been on Broadway 3 times, which I don't know if that's part of the in-joke or not, but it's funny, because, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I think it's funny anyway. But yeah, no, the musical will be called Dare to Be Stupid, based off of, coming from the title of one of his songs, and I think one of his albums as well. Fair enough. I'm gonna be honest, though, I've actually thought about a Weird Al musical for a while, just because I think it'd be really funny. If it was up to me, I personally would have done an adaptation of one of his songs, Albuquerque, because that's I don't know if you guys have ever heard that one. It's a 12-minute long behemoth about absolute nonsense that this guy goes through on a trip to Albuquerque. I just think that'd be a funny basis for the plot of a musical, but I'm not in charge, so. Have either of you guys heard Albuquerque?
I might have a long time ago. I don't really listen to Weird Al all that much. I used to a little bit when I was younger.
Well, to give you the abridged version, the song Albuquerque, again, is 12 minutes long, and the whole narrative of it is that it's a guy who wins a trip to Albuquerque through a radio contest. The plane he's on basically explodes, but he's the only one who survives. He crawls his way to Albuquerque. He gets robbed at his hotel, goes to a donut shop, buys a box of weasels, marries a woman, gives birth to 2 kids, one of which is a superfly, and all this happens because he hates sauerkraut. I just think because that's a narrative, you could incorporate some of the other songs within that narrative. And I think Eat It would fit right in. I don't know. This just tickles my fancy because I'm a theater nerd. I love Weird Al. This was made for me. Let's be real.
Well, we'll see how it goes once it comes out.
We'll see. Again, we only have the bare basics, but I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on this.
Right. Is that everything?
I think so.
All right. So, Mean Guns was directed by Albert Pyun, released on November 21st, 1997. Now, this isn't our first rodeo with Albert Pyun. We talked about Hong Kong 97, I think about a year ago. So it's been a while. I only got a few fun facts right here. Believe it or not, there is not a lot to this movie in terms of production, but so one of the main characters, Lou, is played by Christopher Lambert, who was in the Highlander series, and in one of the scenes in this film, he's wielding a baseball bat. but he wields the bat like a sword. And he wields it in the same way that he does in the Highlander movies. I just thought that was kind of a funny connection, that he kind of borrows his fighting style from other movies he's worked on and incorporated them into this one. The setting is supposed to be like a giant prison, which is actually the Los Angeles County Twin Towers Correctional Facility. Say that 10 times fast. The movie was shot before this location truly opened up. If you've noticed, if you've ever seen the film, there's almost no blood, save for like maybe blood going down somebody's arm or something. They wanted to keep the location as clean as possible before it was truly open for operation. And finally, this is apparently Pyun's most well-received and popular film, especially according to himself. So
Interesting. Because according to Letterboxd, like there's like at least 10 that people like more or know more.
yeah, that's the weird
Well,
thing.
I mean, that's Letterbox. We're talking about the man himself.
I mean, I don't doubt it was fun to make this film, but like that's kind of crazy.
I would have figured Radioactive Dreams was his most well known, just because that's the only one I've ever heard of that like regular people seem to know.
I thought it'd be Captain America because that's the only one that I had at least heard of.
Well, no, the thing is like Captain America's known, but people don't like that one.
Well, it's
Like,
known.
Radioactive Dreams is the only one where I've heard people like, that people seem
Because
to know,
something's
and I've actually
just
heard
because
people
something's
like.
popular doesn't mean it's good. So
Yeah, but like no one likes Captain America.
doesn't mean it's not popular.
No, that does mean it's not popular.
Popular as in known. Whatever.
There's famous and there's infamous. That's unpopular. What about the Nemesis franchise? He's made like multiple of those. I would have figured it was like a hit if there's more than one.
Guess not.
No, there's more. There's 5 Nemesis movies. What the fuck? No, but he only directed 3 of them. Okay, so 4 of them. My bad.
As for the plot of Mean Guns, I'll keep it simple. So, a crime syndicate member named Vincent Moon, who was played by Ice-T, yes, you heard that right, invites 100 killers over to a newly built prison for an ambiguous meeting. This meeting turns out to be a killing game because every killer there has wronged the syndicate in some way, shape, or form. But there's a cash prize if the last 3 members are alive. We don't really follow most of the killers. In fact, most of them I don't even believe had names, but there are some important characters here, namely Lou, Marcus, and Cam. Cam is basically a reporter who kind of just got dragged into this mess. And we have Lou, who is, I guess, essentially our main character. It's a little hard to pinpoint a main character in this specific film, but I think Lou is the one we see the most. He brings along a girl named Lucy, who is not his daughter, but he wants to try to like make amends because he took the girl from a pedophile and kind of tried to adopt her as her own. But Lucy doesn't like Lou, but she likes Marcus instead. So she tells Marcus, "Hey, you should kill that guy. He's a creep." And the rest of the film is basically just numbers drop until the final 3. Not really much more to it than that. It's Danganronpa, but if Monokuma was Ice-T. So, what did we think?
The only other Pyun movies I've seen is Hong Kong 97 and Captain America, both of which I found slow and boring and thought it couldn't stretch its low budget to cover its premise. That's not the case here. Yeah, surprisingly, this is a positive, this is a recommendation for me. This movie was fast-paced. I thought the premise was fun. It had a perfectly feasible to execute at, its scale. Obviously, we noticed when watching it that, there was no blood, which I imagine was a budget constraint, but like outside that, I think it was able to deliver. Yeah, so it's basically like a battle royale, like the original battle royale, even before battle royale, the movie. This is very like very John Wick, or the Raid, because the Raid is just in like one building. John Wick is a bunch of assassins trying to kill each other. Battle royale. Stylistically, it reminds me of like Woo, Tarantino, or like post Tarantino stuff like Guy Ritchie, Johnny Toe. So very quintessentially 90s, I guess.
I think the music also plays a big part in that. Vincent Moon, Ice-T's character, is supposed to be like a big fan of Mambo, and a lot of the songs that play over the shootout scenes is like Mambo. Which you could argue it's very ill-fitting. I understand that, but I think because this is a Vincent's game, it kind of makes sense that he's the one in control and pulling all the strings. I know we had similar criticisms with Blue Submarine number 6, where there was jazz for the fight scenes, but I feel like the context is more important than the song choices, because with Blue Submarine number 6, That series was about humanity on its last legs trying to survive against an alien race or a war. And the jazz just did not accompany that very well. It felt very tone deaf. Whereas here, we already know that Vincent's kind of a loony, but he also has a style, and this is his game, and he's gonna do it his way. So it makes a lot more sense with that context.
And when we say that the mambo is playing over the action scenes, we mean that literally in the context of the movie. It is, in fact, diegetic. In fact, before the game starts, one of the guys says, "Hey, question, where can I buy this soundtrack?"
And by action scene, we mean the entire movie. Like, it's pretty much nonstop. There's like a few bits where they cut it out, but broadly speaking, the entire movie is nonstop mambo. I thought it worked because like there's so much action, it kind of almost feels like you're watching like a choreographed dance. Like the type of action it is, I think almost kind of like makes it fit. You know, it's not annoying like say last week's episode Biodome, where there was constant like 90s music, and I guess that fit too, but it was just like again, I think the context just makes it work. You know, it feels like, you know, action and like dancing kind of go hand in hand, I think, you know, choreography wise. So it kind of like, you know, works. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good premise, done pretty much exactly the way you'd want it to. And yeah, if you like B movies, low budget filmmakings, you know, I'd recommend it. If this movie had like a little bit more money behind it, I think it would be a genuine cult classic.
Yeah, you two didn't hear about this film until I made you watch it.
Nope.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm usually like up to date on obscure shit. I knew some Pyun movies, but like this is just never one I hear brought up, and I don't know why because it's good. Like that's the weird thing. I liked it.
I wouldn't say good. I feel like it's so bad it's good. I feel like this film kind of has a lot going against it on a structural level.
I don't think structurally it's that bad because like I don't know. I've seen movies like this where it just sort of like jumps you into the premise and just like lets it fly. And I don't know. I feel like we get like a decent thread of like characters and whatnot, even throughout the chaos and what. I don't know. I don't think it's like that poorly structured. I don't think like
It's pretty no
John Woo or
nonsense. Like it just
or the
throws you
or
in,
the
it gives you the established rules, and just have fun.
and I don't feel like there needs to be that much preamble. Like, you know, other battle royale movies like, you know, John Wick 2 or you know, Battle Royale or Hunger Games. Like there's more preamble there, but like I don't think it's like necessary here because like Battle Royale and like Hunger Games is like it's a pretty like out there sci-fi concept, but here it's just you have this monologue, he's just doing this little funky shit where it's like, you know, you've all wronged the organization, so we're gonna lock you in here. Last man standing gets a prize. Like I don't know. I feel like it makes sense. We gotta you don't really need to over explain like the assassins, and we understand their backstories as it goes along. I don't know, I
Well,
think
some
it
of
works.
them, not most of them. But yeah, the
Well,
ones
obviously,
that
most of them are
matter.
just cannon fodder. Yeah.
But what's Lugia, what's your issue with the structure?
I think it doesn't really have time to settle down because a lot of it is primarily just action scene after action scene after action scene, which can work. And again, I think the music is a major contributor to that. I feel like it doesn't really have time to slow down and give us like what certain characters are thinking outside of like maybe Cam and D, who are like kind of against this whole thing. D especially because she just kind of wants to kill Lou. I mean, Lou's an asshole. Like I get it. We also don't really understand much about some of the main players, especially Lou. The most we get is just him having PTSD and fucking whip crack flashbacks a couple times, which don't really tell us anything aside from something fucked up happened in his past.
Have you guys ever seen like Rat Race or like It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World?
I've seen
the latter.
Mad Mad World.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I never felt like the characters in those movies were like that complex. Like to me, it was just like a bunch of quirky characters that are all in this one contest together. And like that to me is kind of what this felt like. Like I feel like the characters are just like strong enough personalities where and like they're able to explain enough like of their deal that like it's able to work. I don't think like this is one of those types of movies where you really need that much in-depth character writing. Like you just need to have like a strong personality and maybe like some sort of motivation, and I think it did that fun enough. And obviously the most sympathetic character is the one that makes it out, and I feel like the relationship with the kid stuff is pretty I don't know, I feel like I went in expecting like stuff that I wasn't gonna like I was gonna have issue with, but like honestly I just don't have a lot like to complain about.
What are your complaints, if any?
There's like a couple like moments where like clearly like things are like breaking at the seams just because it's such a, like a low budget production. I don't know, like that's almost like admirable the fact that he did this in such a low budget. So like it's kind of like a negative and a plus. Some editing is a bit off during the action scenes. I'll say that. I do kind of find like the post Richie Tarantino stuff like a little annoying. It's kind of funny like the the random bits of philosophizing. A lot of like action movies back in the 90s after Pulp Fiction came out would always have like characters have some like random philosophy or have like people bantering and like be like super cool like Hong Kong shit. All just because Tarantino did it. Like I think Tarantino once mentioned like there's a scene in Bad Boys where like these two henchmen they're talking about like movies and I think like Michael Bay or whoever told him was like yeah that would have never been in the movie if you didn't exist. That kind of reminds me of this. Yeah, I feel like the opening of the movie is like Ice-T like spouting some philosophical shit, and like later on a few other characters do. That only exists because of the Ezekiel speech in Pulp Fiction. Where it's like, I am the Lord when I strike my vengeance upon you. Like that shit.
Yeah, he's speaking philosophical, and he's also playing a chess game. Welcome back, Seal movie.
Seventh Seal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I don't know. Some of the quirks were a little annoying. Some of the editing was a bit sloppy, but
I think
know.
the white balancing is also pretty off. Most of this film takes place in like gray, sterile rooms.
I kind of liked the way like the light looks where it was like a little blown out. Like I see what you mean, but like I actually thought that was kind of a cool like aesthetic choice.
I think for some scenes it works fine, but the overuse is annoying.
Well, I could give it like a steely kind of look, but yeah. I don't know. This is the first like Albert Pyun movie that made me like actually kind of like get why he has a cult following and made me interested in seeing his other shit. What was our take on like Hong Kong 97? Like clearly the man has talent, but like this is just a boring fucking movie.
Yeah, it's shot very well. There's just nothing to grasp though.
Yeah, I think I'm pulling up my review for it. And I was like, it had a nice like moody feel. I kind of like how it's shot, but like the acting, story, character's good. No.
I'll be honest, I don't really remember any of the plot details. I just remember it looked nice.
I think this is the first like Albert Pyun movie where we can say, hey, it's good. Not good, but
fun. Dumb fun.
I think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I want to give it like a high rating. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. I think it passed the threshold to good.
I'd say it's decent.
I would at least recommend it. I honestly kind of hope that like this movie, like maybe not gets a remake, but I want to see another movie like this.
It was actually gonna get a remake set in the 2010s, but Albert Pyun passed away in 2022, so it wasn't gonna happen.
Again, like I compared it to The Raid and John Wick. Like if this movie had like John Wick action or The Raid action, I think it would be one of the biggest movies of the year. Bullet Train was a hit. I haven't seen it yet, but I think the new Park Chan-wook movie, No Other Choice, I think is what it's called, also has like a similar sort of premise of like a sort of battle royale. So like I don't know. I feel like this is a movie that's maybe a little ahead of its time, just because like there are a lot of movies that like try to have a similar vibe to this that have come out after its release, including battle royale. I don't know. This is the Fortnite movie.
Before we wrap up, I want to discuss the ending a little bit. So I feel like it's kind of obvious that the whole last three people standing winning was kind of a lie. I think we all expected that going in. But I do like how it's kind of turned on its head with the last three standing, which is Cam, Lou, and Marcus. So they do like a good, the bad, and the ugly thing where it's them and Vincent Moon. They each get guns and they have to choose like who they're gonna shoot, and whoever's left standing is the winner and takes the money. But Vincent rigs it to where he knows Lou would shoot him, so he intentionally gave him a gun with no bullets whatsoever. Marcus shoots.
That's really funny. You say it's like the good, the bad, the ugly. That's the exact thing that happens in the good, the bad, the ugly. Blondie gives Tuco a gun with no bullets because he knows Tuco is going to shoot him.
Right. So Marcus shoots Cam, not to kill her. He shoots her in the shoulder to knock her unconscious. He shoots Lou, and then he ends up killing Vincent, but he doesn't want to end up winning the game. He wants Cam to make it out instead, so he goads Lou into killing him and vice versa. I thought that was a very interesting way to tie the film together, because Marcus, up until this point, has been very sympathetic towards Cam. So I thought that was like just kind of a neat way to like have Cam make it out, even though she'd never killed anyone.
Kind of like the ending punchline. The kids like get to ask about the mambo music.
Also, one more funny thing. So it's called Mean Guns. There are guns. People die by guns.
That's pretty mean.
And then there's Barbie, who literally dies in the most Home Alone-ass way possible. She finds a fake briefcase, takes it with her thinking it's the money. It explodes, and then her hair is like on fire, and she's got like smoke all around her face, and she just screams out her ass and then falls and dies. In a film where like everyone's died in like a realistic sort of way, like having her die in that way was just hilarious. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say.
It's a recommendation from me. Do you guys recommend it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't expect a masterpiece, because it sure as hell isn't.
Yeah, it's a fun.
It's a good
2 hours.
popcorn
Like, it
flick.
just
It's a decent
yeah,
popcorn
Yeah.
flick.
And watch it with friends if you can.
Yeah, like expect something like again, any of the action movies I mentioned, like it's not going to be to that like high quality, but like it'll be fun. I think it's your recommendation, Patty.
Yes, it is. All right, guys. I've been in a bit of a fantasy mood lately. So let me ask you, would you rather a live-action fantasy film or an animated fantasy film?
Live action.
I was gonna say animated, but let's see. We did
I just
Jinro,
don't-
and now we did this.
I just don't trust his picks for animated. I feel like it's going to be like some.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
trust his
well-
picks for live action after Biodome.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so
I
we're
don't know.
split. We're split down the middle. I'll be honest.
I'm
I'm
trying to think, like,
leaning
what-
a bit more towards the animated one because that's been on my radar for a while.
Let me see if I can guess it. Is it a Bakshi movie? Have we done the Black Cauldron already? I feel like we did.
We did,
Yes,
yes.
we did. So this is a movie I saw once back when it first came out. I remember nothing about it other than the arc of one of the characters. But it's a movie I've just kind of been curious to check out because I hear nobody talk about it anymore. So, you know what? Why not? Next week, we're going to take flight with Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Is this our first Zack Snyder movie?
Yeah, it's also the only Zack Snyder movie I've ever seen.
You ever seen like 300 or Man
Nope.
of Steel?
Nope, I saw
Oh,
like
It's crazy.
the first 15 minutes of Man of Steel, but then I fell asleep.
Okay.
I think I saw this when it came out too.
I haven't seen this.
Really?
I have not. Yeah.
And I feel like this is one of those movies that just came and went.
This is like one of those like I feel like at the time there's a bunch of like fantasy like kind of like movies that like people just don't remember. Like
I feel like
well, I mean people.
well, this was around the time the Harry Potter series was ending, and I feel like studios were trying to find the next big thing. The next
Yeah,
big
there was, like,
fantasy book
this.
series.
Yeah, there was.
'Cause I know
like,
this is
there's-
based on a book, and they wanted to
Yeah.
make more of them, but they just didn't.
Yeah, there was this like Spider-Man Chronicles, a different Legend of the Guardians. I think it was Rise of the Guardians. That was the DreamWorks movie.
Yeah. Another movie I
Um,
saw only once, but never saw after.
That one's I have seen. That one's actually pretty decent.
I know that one has a huge cult following, but I only saw it once when it was in theaters.
All right.
I don't know.
Um,
We'll see. We'll see if this is a hidden gem or not.
Is this your sequel to Hoot because it's an owl?
No, no.
Yeah, he's replacing the hook joke with Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Dude, I'll say this: if I wanted to make more hoot, I'll make more hoot jokes if we ever talk about the Percy Jackson movies.
All right.
But that's not on my radar.
Yeah, I didn't see Owls of Ga'Hoole, but I did see Percy Jackson because I was already a fan of the book, so obviously.
But yeah, no,
There's some
I'm
Jared
choosing this
Bigos
movie
kind of
because I've
action on it,
legitimately
too.
been curious about it for the past I don't
Yep,
even know how
yep.
many years. All right, Lugia, you got a closer?
Yeah. Any questions?
Where can I listen to this podcast?
YouTube.
The time has come to say adios, you and I hope you keep a place for me in your memory as the days go drifting by.